Hey guys, how's it going? Gonna be a quick video today because I don't have a whole lot of crazy stuff going on. A little dark in my room because I have a little bit of a headache and I don't want it to turn into a migraine. So bear with me on that. It's Iron Vlog 150, I think, right? 150. I just checked because I didn't want to make the same mistake I made the other day. So I wanted to show you just really quick, give you just a little quick update on what I've been working on here. Here's me in the suit right here. I have my mouse made a lot larger so that you guys can see what I'm pointing at, because one thing I realized when I was watching the video, especially if you're watching on a phone, you might not be able to see where my cursor is, so I made it larger. So it looks really weird with the Fusion going on. But anyway, here's the back. And kind of what I'm doing now is I'm really taking my time with it. I'm trying to get right because, like I said, this is the one I'm trying to build. I'm actually trying to build this one. So before I was moving quickly because I was trying to figure it out. Now I mostly have it figured out, sort of. Except for the torso, so there's a chance I may end up doing this part again. It is possible, but I'm trying to get it done on this one. I really, as my friend Alan says, you want to make it good enough. You don't want to make it too good though. Just good enough to get it out. It's kind of, if you looked at the like the iPhone 1, for instance, it was good, but it wasn't amazing. Certainly wasn't, the iPhone 10. If Steve Jobs had waited to try to get the iPhone 1 to be the iPhone 10, you would never have launched it, right? But he also had to make sure it fucking worked. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get to here. I'm trying to make it good. I'm trying to make the iPhone 1. I'm trying to make the Mark 1, you know? So I want this to be good, but I don't want it to be too good because then it would take too long to get it done. And I want this channel to do well, and it's really going to take off when I actually start welding and putting this thing together. Right now, you guys are kind of just looking at like, yeah, it's cool, man, but can you do it? I actually want to do it. So, all that being said, though, I want to make sure this one is looking good enough. I don't want it to be shitty. So, what I'm working on in here is you can see there's the deep layer right here, and then this is the superficial layer right here. And so if you look at it from the top, you can see there's a gap in between here. And then this curved piece, this is the part that I'm not loving right now. I don't hate it. It's kind of what I did today. Before, I didn't really have any of this back panel on, and then these struts coming across. This joint right here is for the neck, and this joint right here is for your lumbar. And so they allow for this motion, like this, so forward and backwards, motion in the sagittal plane. So this box down here is because I wanted this a little closer together, and then there's some exomuscle anchors running in between here, and those will be swivels, and those are going to be coming down to here for your oblique muscles, side to side on the back, so more like the muscles, the I can't remember the name of those muscles, the muscles that run down your spine that let you stand up straight. That's kind of what these are, but they're essentially just like obliques in your back, right? So those go down here. Oh, and then also part of your rhomboid comes up, and then this thing has to be really strong right here because coming off of right here, there's a joint. I can actually show it to you right here if we look over at draft 4. This is draft 4. I'm on draft 5 now. If we look over here, you can see this is my old design for my exomuscles. There's one right here, and there would have been a hole right in here, and it would be pointing up and anchoring in back here, and that is to raise and lower your shoulder, and it'll also be pulling your head back, and then there'll be muscles in the front that keep your head down. So if you wanted to lift your shoulders up, but not have your head go back, you keep these at a constant length. So you keep these like essentially contracted, and then you contract these ones harder, and those would pull this up like this without hopefully your head tilted back. So that's the idea anyway. There's a chance that you get these exos muscles in here and they don't work the way they're supposed to. That's definitely a possibility with this. So let's definitely keep that in mind. This is just an attempt. Doesn't mean we're going to get it right the first time. But so that's going to go there and come up. And I'm using the smaller sizes for those. Those will only be producing about 1,000 pounds. My bigger size ones, the size up from that one, produces 5 tons of force. This one only produces, so they produce about 1,100 pounds of force. So that's going to kind of curve through here, and there's a good chance it's going to be kind of being held in from pulling out by this right here. So this needs to be pretty strong. So I'm going to build this here, this strut system here, and then the idea is to weld some sheet metal in between this and here, and then on the inside reinforce it with Kevlar, and I might even use Kevlar ropes for that one and kind of lay them down instead of using just Kevlar fabric to give it a little bit more bulk and a little bit more thickness, and run that through there, and then but then there won't be any Kevlar in there and the tensile strength in there. I don't know. I gotta do some more thinking about it. This is taking a little bit longer because I'm actually, like I said, I'm trying to get this one right. And then the hatch, the Apollo inspired hatch mechanism that I did the video on yesterday, that is going to be on the sides of this, and then onto the back of that is going to be bolted on like the fuel tank and then the batteries, the flammable parts. And then the idea is to probably run a Bowden cable. Shout out to what's his name, Fractal something. When I asked for ideas, he said Bowden cables. I'm like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So Bowden cables are bike cables. That's what they're actually called. They're the bike brake cables. Essentially running one of those to the front, and then having some kind of, so there'll be like a handle back here for whoever's putting me into it. They can open the system, but then the idea is to have a quick release on the front that I can reach in an emergency and drop the highly flammable stuff off of my back. But that latch has to be really, it has to be a latch that only opens if I'm trying to open it. If I were flying in this thing and it just popped off and all my fuel came off and then I just fell out of the sky, that would be a poor design. So it needs to be where I can get to it and pull it off, but built in such a way that it'll never come off if I don't want it to come off. So that's pretty complicated too, and I have to figure all that out. But the idea is probably to run a Bowden cable and just pull on whatever hatch it is, but then there needs to be some kind of safety to keep it from opening when it's not supposed to open. I don't have that figured out yet. So I have to figure that out, and then there'll be one other strut, and this one will come around to this one, and then over into this one right here, the top part, and it'll be a solid piece that comes all the way around on this. So it's looking pretty good. I've decided there's going to be on this shoulder piece right here, so we're back to, this is back to draft 4. Let's go back to the full body one. This right here, there's going to be a piece that kind of coming off of the shoulder girdle here, coming up and wrapping to the front, because there's also going to be a shoulder girdle part in the front, and so it's a wrap open, and what that'll do, it'll go underneath, so this piece right here, so as this piece rotates up, it'll slide underneath that. So essentially all I want is that I want this part to be armored. So this part will be armored, and then this part right here, when I raise my arm up, will slide over the other piece. Does that make sense? And so when your arm is down, right now when this arm is down, there's nothing up here. So I want, and it'll also make it stronger too, but I want a piece that come across. So I'm going to add that too. And so the idea with this right now is to build all of this out as one unit, and this won't be moving. And then I'm going to take this file and I'm going to stick it into a new file so that this is a little simpler. And then that's when I'm going to build the shoulder girdle off of that. So in the shoulder girdle will be going, essentially there'll be a bigger, bulkier version in the back that'll carry most of the load, and then a smaller, lighter version that'll carry a little bit of the load in the front. And that's kind of the idea. And then they'll be attached over this, and then off of that will be built the joint where the arm will attach and run down. So it's quite a bit of work left to do, and like I said, I'm moving at a little bit of a slower pace right now because I'm trying to have this one where I can actually build it, and hopefully I won't have to rebuild it. If I did have to rebuild this one, I just had to rebuild this one, would be the end of the world, because if I built it all, then I was looking at it, I'm like, I really don't love the torso. The idea is I'm not going to build the arm off of it. The arm, and then the legs, and the pelvis, and the lumbar, all of that, I have it all in this sketch right here. This sketch, all these different planes in here, are all the planes that the suit is built on. So that means they're all lined up to this one file. So I can go through, and if I don't like one piece of the suit, I can go rebuild that, and I know it'll fit the other ones because this file has all these different planes in it, and all those different planes, the rest of the suit is built off of too. So you get what I'm saying? So if the arm is good, and the pelvis is good, and the leg is good, but the lumbar is bad, I could go rebuild the lumbar and then just pop it in place because I know it'll fit because I have all these planes right here. So that's kind of my idea for doing that, and then so I have it all there. And then if something doesn't fit quite right, I can tweak in this file, and then if I ever carry this forward and have to do another draft or something like that, I have it all designed here. So I can adjust this file and it'll change everything all the way through the suit, and then it also allows me to make sure everything fits. So if this one wasn't to work, it wouldn't be the end of the world. So I want this one to work though. I really want this one to work. This torso is probably the most complicated file. The hands are also really complicated, but this file is really complicated because you have going down to your lower body through the lumbar, you have going up to your head through the neck right here, and then the shoulder girdle, which is the most complicated form on your body. This is very, very complicated. And in fact, people that make industrial exoskeletons, this is the part they have the most trouble with, is your shoulder girdle. So the shoulder girdle is essentially in the torso, sort of, in this one. I'm actually making them in two different files because I think that's the best way to do it. But anyway, the torso is hella complicated. Mostly because it has these two joints, plus it also has the shoulder girdle in it. The sternoclavicular joint, which goes right down the middle, is difficult. So anyway, guys, it's like I said, it's going kind of slow, but I wanted to give you an update, let you know how things are going, and that they are progressing, and we're getting closer. You guys are great. Love you. Peace.